From the controversial Splendid China Park to the water park in the middle of the desert, these are 8 strange, abandoned recreational places. Number 8. Consono. Location: Consono, Italy. Consono was part of ancient history, first settled sometime in 1085 AD. It was never a big community, ranging between 100 and 300 inhabitants. After the struggles of both wars, the city fell into complete obscurity with some 50 people living there. Count Mario Bano saw this place as an exclusive spot to build a resort that would entertain nearby Milan. He wanted to build his own little city of toys, and in reality, he just wanted a Las Vegas in the Italian Alps. He bought the whole village of Consono for 22 million Italian lira, or 35 grand in 1962. Just a little side note, $35,000 in 1962 is the equivalent of $278,000 today when you account for inflation. So what do you get when you mix shady housing laws and businessmen with more money than ideas? You get a desolate, always half-finished city of toys. Mario Bano was known to change his mind a lot. Even if a building was almost complete, he would order to demolish it if he had changed his mind on how exactly it should look. In 1976, a landslide destroyed the mountain road leading up to Consono, signaling the end of construction and visitors. In 2007, there was a big rave at the location. Authorities decided the place has to be off limits to the public and put fences all around it. Number 7. Nara Dreamland. Location: Nara, Japan. This one you might have seen in a ton of other videos, so we won't jump into too much detail. Nara Dreamland was heavily inspired by Disneyland in Anaheim, California. It was even supposed to have all the famous Disney characters roaming around as mascots, but due to licensing fee disputes with Walt Disney, the idea was scrapped. The park opened in 1961, but started seeing a decline in visitors by the 1980s when Tokyo Disneyland opened its doors. Nara Dreamland officially shut down in August 31st, 2006. The site was left abandoned for years until it was confirmed that a demolition process was underway in 2016. Number 6. American Adventure Theme Park. Location: Derbyshire, England. Who knew the English loved American culture so much that they opened an American-themed adventure park to celebrate it? In the beginning, the park was more adult-oriented, focusing on the Wild West and cowboys versus Indians kind of themes. In the mid-90s, the park went into a decline. There was no new major rides built, the ones they did have were not updated regularly, and in 2007, the park was closed to visitors. In 2012, the Derbyshire County Council decided to redevelop the land for housing, offices, and leisure facilities. With that decision, the park was officially demolished. Goodbye. By the way, any Mr. Robot fans around here? Did you ever wonder if the F Society headquarters was a real place or just a film set? Well, it's a little bit of both. The outside scenes were filmed in front of the El Dorado Bumper Cars and Arcade on Coney Island, of course during the off-season. For the inside scenes, the production used Silver Cup Studios, also based in New York. Number 5. Splendid China. Location: Orlando, Florida. No, there's no mistake here. Splendid China is in Florida. Turns out it was owned and operated by the Chinese government, and many people had issues with that. At its core, the park was a collection of miniature replicas of famous Chinese buildings and locations. They even had the Great Wall of China. It just wasn't so great, or in China. But whatever, that's not the point. It opened in 1993, and in the beginning, it featured a lot of talented Chinese actors and performers, who immediately ran away from the park and claimed asylum in the United States. Seriously, never thought that a small park in Florida would be the site of so much controversy. Splendid China closed down in 2003, and news from the area state that a Margaritaville is being built at the location. I wonder if Randy Marsh would go there. Number 4. Atlantis Marine Park. Location: Australia. This obscure little place was constructed in 1981, and it featured 7 bottlenose dolphins as its main attractions. Oh, and of course, this big statue of Neptune. It seems like they didn't plan for everything though. Dolphins are active creatures, and there were 3 dolphin calves born in 1988. Due to regulations, the park had to build a much bigger enclosure for the dolphins. Unfortunately, there was not enough money to do so. The park went bankrupt, the dolphins were released into the wild, and Neptune got vandalized. Number 3. Rockahula Water Park. Location, California. If you have ever made the boring 4-hour desert drive between Los Angeles and Las Vegas, chances are you have seen the remnants of the Rockahula Water Park. It was constructed in the early 1960s, and by 1990, it was forgotten by most and abandoned. That is until 1998, when it was reopened by new owners, hoping for a very different outcome. In 1999, it hosted the Electric Daisy Carnival, and by late 2000, the park had amassed over $3 million in debt, plus a $4.4 million insurance payout for an employee injury. Needless to say, the company filed for a Chapter 11, and the park was permanently shut down. Number 2. Flintstones Bedrock City. Location, Williams, Arizona. Do you love the Flintstones? Do you love websites straight out of the 90s? Do you love abandoned theme parks? This is the place for you, my friend. Not to be confused with the Bedrock City in South Dakota, it's also not completely abandoned. The owner of the property still lives on the site, but isn't able to do any upkeep on most buildings. They did try to sell the park for $2 million, but sadly, no one made any offers or bids. Before we jump into number 1, here are some honorable mentions, and of course, a little subscriber appreciation. Thanks for the awesome support. First, we have the most famous abandoned place in the world, Pripyat, and the desolate amusement park within. It sure makes for a great photo location, apart from the general feeling of despair and sadness and all the people that perished there. There's also the not-so-famous Boblo Island. It is located on the Detroit River, and it closed down in 1993. There are not that many pictures of the place, and almost all of the rides were sold off to other parks. Next up, the Six Flags New Orleans. A victim of the vicious Hurricane Katrina, this park has been used in a few Hollywood productions. I go into much more detail about the place in the 10 Restricted Abandoned Places video. Check it out. Number 1. The Burnback Pier. Location, North Somerset, England. Finally, we have the Burnback Pier. Once a staple of the Bristol Channel, the Burnback Pier was opened on June 5, 1867, making this the oldest location in this video. Since then, the pier has been plagued by heavy damage from storms and change of owners. It was finally closed for safety reasons in 1994. It lay in despair until 2006, when it was sold to Urban Splash, a company specializing in fixing up abandoned buildings. Unfortunately, even they were not able to bring the pier back to its former glory. The site is becoming more dangerous for urban explorers every year, with the latest collapse happening in December 2015. Let your imagination run wild, hit that like button, check out the next video, and subscribe for more World Unearthed.